Now we came back to try to understand this. A very difficult. Wait a minute. What is that? Is that me? I have music coming out. What's going on here? Done. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. What's going on, man? Hello? Yeah, hello. Okay. All right, we're back to the Saruk now. And it's very difficult to understand. I'm thinking like when I was learning the Daya, it came to me that maybe the problem with understanding the Daya in Saruk HaKodesh is that it's like a hodgepodge, like the grammar is not right 100%, or it's copied from notes or something which is not, they're questionable how they put it together here in this treatise, but here we go. So he says, but Pirish Maurice Saruk, he said, come the boss is Chazru Chad. Now, this so the question is what exactly is the Girsa? That's one question. So then he says it's Yud K Vav Yud. We get an answer for that way back, in the regular Pirish. And then it says Yud Ka Yako, and then it says just a Yud. So he bear kan lefidarko. So we have to go. That's what we looked at the Hakdama, but the Hakdama is not so easy to keep track of. A lot of new ideas. V'zel deshona behind the Omer b'sefer the basi is chazru chad. And it says afterwards they came back to be one. Now exactly what came back became one. Kolomer apasuk is a chazer. Then he says it says like this. I want to come back and say chazer v'amel chud siva v'ya'amod. So he brings this in. I don't know what to do with it. First he says they came back to be one. And then he said he commanded, in another place he says he commanded Siva v'yamot. L'rmaz lomo the Kasser. So this is actually a reference to Kasser. So in the Kakdama we saw yesterday, the Kasser Gematria 620. So I forgot how we got to 620, but it has to do with the concept of that it becomes 620 amudim. And they all become combined into one. Yud Shel Shem Sag, and we said that before. B'pam Sheni, the second time. L'socha Tihiru. So here he's dealing with pre-creation ideas. So the Yud comes out of this Avir. Now, he's not really telling us what this Avir is. It's like we have Avir in terms of the Rosh of Eric Anpin. We have that, but this sounds like it's before that. The Tihuru is before Eric Anpin. This is a creation of the concept of Kesser, which is 620 Amudim. V'asas a kadar keser, and it makes the ball a keser. So we're dealing with the concept of the of the first ball. V'nishma or hakadmon shebachavira, and it comes out, pours out, let's say, from this original light that came from the avira hagonus hanisha b'yud hazos. The very difficult sentence, I think. It pours mecha or hakadmon. So let's say there was that original light, Haganus Hanishar B'Yud Hazos, which is related, remains from this Yud that we're talking about. So there's this or that the whatever it comes out of this, whatever is left over. Azna Asazeha or Hagodol. So this makes the great light. Ima Orshanis Ava Machmas B'Kiyas Yud Hazos Echad. So he says now this. Let read it again slowly. Ozna azeha or hagadol. Now you have this great light. Ima orshanis ava, with the light that was thickened. Machbis bekiyas yud hazos echad. So it sounded like, except for this line where he says, I'm thinking that when you take the yud out of the word avir, you have the word or. So that what's left behind is the or that is hidden away, that is hidden away. So then he says, though, Azna asazeho or hagodol, im haor shenis ava machbas bekiyas yud, and then there's a thicker part of the air, or a quicker part of the light, that came about as a result of the breaking out of the yud, and the two of them become one. Now that whole idea there is vague to me. So going on, but this is the idea of two yudin in some way combining. That seems what it sounds like. Behind the cross, so then he said the process of the amod. Amod is lashon. The beast telling me is lashon keser. The ilu of haisach or gavona al halomos. So if it was talking about the lower worlds. V'yamod is only talking about one thing. Before he said, I thought he was saying it refers to Kesser. So why does it say that? Elokoi al elu shtei orushin asachad. So it comes to talk about these two lights that become one. Now, again, it's not clear to me what the lights are, because it said like the Yud comes out of the Avir. And he says, I'm maybe going to say this now, I'm not sure, and it makes this tihiru, but he said that previously. Then he says they're going to develop another yud. And playing around with the word or, and it makes me confused. So now he says there are two oros shena'as echad. V'neket lashon v'amod, so why that word? He says shuhu lashon amud. Is lashon a column. Behind amud keser. This is what we talked about, our Amudi Kesser. He said there's 620 Amudim there. In the Hakdama, I thought I understood that he said that they combine and they make one column. Shamarna b'Hakdama now, so he said we talked about that. So this isn't hard enough, so he says let's look at it more. So now the Sefer comes and explains like this. That in the word Vayehi, or, that's the second one, Yehi, or, and then Vayehi, or, that's this one, Nirmaz Kol Seder Havayos Olam Adman Kadmoa. So now, to get from the stage of this Tihura, I guess he means to the stage of this Olam Adam Kadmon. So he said, let's read it again. He says, Vayehi, or Nirmaz Kol Seder Havayus Olam Adam Kadmo Hazeh, Sha'anim is asking Bo Ata. That's really what we're trying to talk about here, is the development of this Adam Kadmon. Ba'ofen Zeh. So now he's going to explain how these letters work out, and now it's going to explain the whole thing, he says. So you have Yud K Vav Yud. I was pronouncing Yakovi. I don't know if that's my pronunciation. But is that the Yud Rishona, Haina Rabbi Yud Ilo Shel Shem Sag. So then we talked about that. This is the last Yud of the name Sag. Sag refers to Bina. So somehow there's some kind of a Bina Dika aspect here. So that's what that is. Tehiro. So Tehiro. So this is this place Tehiro. This is the first, let's say, some kind of a stage before creation, something like that. So he said, then he said, now you got to go to the Vav. The Vav Mora al Hashne Yudin Shena'asa Vav. So he says again, the Vav is really showing us about two Yudin, and he talked about that before, but it was never clear to me how this works. He says, Al Shnei Yudim Shena'asa Vav. So the Vav is made out of the two Yudin. The two Yudin what? What are the two Yudin? So one was the Yud that came out of the Avir, and the other one was another generation of that Yud. That's what it sounds like to me. And then he says, Hashem Yudim Shena'asa Vav Keshenistalkloch of the Yud Shel Shem Sag Minute Tehiro. So because it's okay, so the Yud, so now there's a Sag in the Tehiro. I thought the Sag was before the Tehiro, but it sounds like it comes out of the Tehiro. La'alos Lamala Lachsol the Sharsha wants to go backwards. Now here's another concept. So first it comes out, it sounds like it makes this Tehiro, and then the Vav is a combination of these two Yud. And let me read it again. So he says, V'havav, Mora ala Shnei Yudin. So now we have two Yudin that we're dealing with. It sounds like first generation, then it generates again another Yudin Shena'asa Vav, and the two of them make a Vav. So I'm trying to think, what does he mean? He means they make a Vav. He said one on top of the other. And when do they make this Vav? Kshenistalko HaYud Shel Shem Sag. And this happens when the Yud of the same Shab Minute Tehira, it leaks. That is the Yud that came out of the Sag that we said originally. La'alos Lamala Lachso the Sharsha, who wants to go backwards. Okay, now that could be a Bina Dika aspect because it's or Choser. I don't know. Kenecha B'chakdam Sham. For Hayud Achrona, then there was the Hainach B'chayud Shal Rashimo. Now that was not easy to understand what the Rashimo is. It's something. Somehow it has to do with a remnant of the original light. Shina ala rak hayud shel shem sag, because it doesn't go up. That's what it sounds like. Shesem shab v'nikbam in the kudas malchus shel adam kadmor, and it what? And attaches itself to the to the nekudas malchus shel adam kadmor of the nekuda, the dot of malchus of the original man. Kasher Nifrash B'Smoch, he says that this idea is going to be explained soon. Okay, it would be nice. So now he's trying to explain the rest of this formula, Yakovi. So he said, so that a person shouldn't make a mistake and think, Shazos HaVav Shel Yakovi, that Vav, that's that third letter, it's a letter, I don't know what it means, a letter by itself. Kashar kol vav, in other words, just an ordinary vav, or somehow, because of elu osius, a yud k vav, and then a another yud. So what's that all about? So he says, and again, he's explaining the girsa here, so v'hirchik hayud achrona min osius Yaakov. So he takes it away from the yud that's Yaakov. So we have an idea what Yaakov could mean, I guess. He says kedei lefarish l'cha what shezos havav na'asis min hayud achrona. Where does this vav come from? It comes from the final yud, which we said before is the hey yud, the final hey yud of Sag. Achrona k'shuchosim, it's the reference, the hidabek, the yud shel shem sag kamo shivarashno. He just said exactly opposite of what I said. So let me see it again. So let's go back to the hirchik. V'harchich hayud achrona min osius Yaakov. Okay, we know that's what that formula says. K'dei leforish l'chol shezos ha'vav, that the vav na'asa min hayud achrona, that is made, how does this show this? I don't know, is made out of the final yud, Mitzdarefes the hidabik the yud shel shem san kamosh barashto, and so that final yud, so really confused. Mosh barashto b'hakdama now adkan. So explain that over there. Wow. Okay. Let's see how we're doing here. So we have a little bit more time. I also don't have that much more that I proofed, but we can look at this here. And tomorrow, so since we came to there, so we'll come over here and try to get this done. And then tomorrow, I'd like to take a shot at the Rashash, but I think we should start with Tzitzis, and then we come back and work it like that. But Perish Talmud, so the Talmud says like this. He says, Bir Kan V'zel Lashon, so explains here. This is what he says. Yakovi, that phrase, let's just say Yako Yud. He says, Sod HaTeferes. So this is the secret, he says, of Teferes. And he says, how we get this, Shuhu HaIker, which is the main thing. That's Zeranpen, I guess. Ki Yud Achrona, because the last Yud that you have there, Remezes B'Malchus. This is really a remes to Malchus, because he ain't parts of Rak Nekuda Chada. So it's like the concept of Yud K Vav. This is easier, certainly easier explanation. It's Yud K Vav K, but it's in the state where the final K is just a dot. Kanoida. So what does that do for me though? What does it do? How does that help me understand? So it's Yud K Vav K, but it's referring to Yud, just this final Yud, just is a dot. So Masha Kosev Mashin is Boyer Besod Hazayin Mini Zivugim. So I'm not sure exactly what those are. This is what it means. The Shekhinah is for the bottom, or down to the bottom. But so long because Shekhinah he nekuda the mata tachas yisod. This is referring to a situation where the Shekhinah is very small. So then you have a just simple explanation is that the Yud is Chachma, Hey is Bina, the Vav is Zer Anpen, and then this is pouring into the Yud, which is very small, something like that. I could make that kind of explanation. Let's go to the next one. So he said, the next one said, V'yofa Shah, Bir L'fi Darko, so he explains it as he is going along, V'zel D'Shono, Levasser is Chazru Chad, and then he has a different girsa. His girsa is Yako, just Yako. So he says they go back to be one, and it says the Yud K Vav. I guess that's the idea. They're going back. The word phrase is up above. It says Levasser is Chazru Chad, and then it says the Yud K Vav Yud. So they come back to one, and then what's the idea of all of these little pieces? That is the Yud, the K, the Vav, and then he said previously in the last one, or he's saying going to say over here that it's just a dot. Let's see what the Yafashah says again. Now he says the Basa is Chazru Chad, and then it says the letters Yako, just Yako. So this little Zion down here, Zion says Girsuf Yafashah Kanhu. The Basa is Chazru Chad. Then it says Yud K Vav, and then it has a separate K Basra, the K Basra. The Zuhi Girsa Chadosha. So this is like another Girsa. Shalom B'Tzandach B'Shum Tefus. I never saw that anyplace. He said. The Fus of Ksiv Yad Shalavanenu. I never saw that before. So exactly what he's trying to get at. So he now explains. Pirish Labasir. So he explains after that. Shenimshcha HaTipa HaKedusha HaB'Mazel Elyon, that you have a Hamshocha of this Tipa from the upper Mazel is Chazor the Hiyosu Shlosha Osios Yaakov the Shema Kadisha. So it comes back and it makes the Shlosha Osios of Yaakov the Shema Kadisha, the first three letters. So that's what it means. It comes back together. Is a Pirish the Basar Shenimshka HaTipa HaKedusha B'Mazel the Elyon. So it's coming out of the upper Mazel. Is Chazo the Hiyosu Shlosha Osios, so that it changes and it becomes three letters. Okay, this is a different idea altogether. So here we're talking about It's coming out of the mazel. There's a lot of thickness to it already. It's not like the tiru that we were talking about with that interpretation with Saruk. So he says that it makes those the Shem Kedisha, ki tipa atzmehi or Shem Av. So the tipa itself is a light. It's just light. The light that's represented by the name of Havaya Milui Yudin, Shuhu Chochma, Bechinas Yud. So now he's going through it this way. Also, there's something that's clothed on it. Imatipa, so the klipa is not just coming down by itself, it's coming down with the clothing. Imatipa shem sag, so it's clothed in the name sag. So that's what he says over there. He said, what is it? Who bina? So this is bina. Bechinas hay. So bina is the hay. So that you have the yud. That's the tipa, which is mislavish and sag. And then you have bina is the hay itself. And it goes down, and it's just following the progression of the movement of the tipa, not just, but he's following that. So the das is the aspect of the letter vav. So therefore it develops this concept, these three letters now come out of it, the Shem Kedisha Ad Kan. That's all I have prepared for today. That's it. Okay. I apologize once again that I can't get the thing on the page right. I get so deeply involved I don't move it, and I want to keep it so that it's visible, so I do apologize.